Conor McGregor's, a name that resonates in the world of combat sports, is a figure whose journey to greatness is both inspiring and complex. But behind the flashy highlights, the world titles, and the captivating persona lies a story that very few truly know. A story that starts not in the bright lights of the arena, but in the quiet streets of a small neighborhood, where a young boy dreamed of something bigger than the world around him. Dear audience, before moving forward, I would like to say, your support means the world to us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon, and share this video with your friends to keep us motivated as we bring you valuable content. It was in these streets, with the hum of everyday life and the echo of distant voices, that Conor's story began. His childhood wasn't marked by instant success or fame. It wasn't a story of privilege or ease. It was a tale of grit, determination, and the kind of struggle that shapes a person from the inside out. From the moment he was born, Conor's path seemed destined to be anything but ordinary. Raised in a working-class family, with his parents doing their best to make ends meet, Conor was taught the values of hard work and perseverance early on. But there was always something in him, a fire that refused to be extinguished, something that set him apart from the other kids in his neighborhood. As a child, Conor wasn't always the strongest or the most athletic, but he had something else that no one could take from him, a relentless drive to prove himself. Whether it was in the schoolyard, on the streets, or in the family home, Conor's competitive nature always found a way to emerge. And it was that very competitive edge that would push him to chase after something greater than the ordinary life that many expected for him. But there was another side to Conor's childhood, one that was shaped by the hardships of growing up in a tight-knit, sometimes unforgiving environment. Conor's family, though close, was no stranger to struggles. Money was tight, and his parents worked long hours to provide for their family. It was a reality that many kids in the neighborhood shared, but it was something that Conor never let define him. He looked at the world around him and saw only possibilities, endless possibilities that could be turned into something more. Yet, as much as Conor's story was one of ambition and self-determination, there were moments of doubt, moments when it seemed as though the weight of his circumstances might hold him back. It wasn't just the external pressures of poverty or a lack of resources that Conor had to fight against. It was the internal pressure, the fear that perhaps he wasn't enough, that perhaps his dreams were too big for the reality he lived in. But Conor never gave in. Every day, he found something new to fuel his ambition. Whether it was boxing in his garage, playing sports with friends, or simply watching his idols on television, Conor was always looking for a way to improve, to become better. It was this unwavering pursuit of greatness that set him apart from the rest, the thing that would carry him through the challenges he'd face later in life. As Conor grew older, his passions began to take shape. He found solace in sports, a natural outlet for his restless energy and his need to compete. But it wasn't just about winning, at least not in the way people often think. For Conor, it was about proving something to himself. It was about making a name for himself in a world that often seemed stacked against him. His early teenage years were marked by a series of challenges and triumphs, the kind of experiences that would lay the foundation for his future success. But there were also moments of pain and loss, times when Conor questioned everything he thought he knew. Through it all, though, one thing remained certain: his determination to rise above it all. The more Conor learned about the world of combat sports, the more it consumed him. He started training at a local gym, surrounded by fighters who had more experience, more talent, and more connections than he did. But none of that mattered. Conor's obsession with improving, with becoming the best, drove him forward. He spent hours in the gym, pushing his body to its limits and learning everything he could about the sport he loved. It wasn't long before Conor's name began to spread. His natural talent was undeniable, and his work ethic was unmatched. But even as his reputation grew, Conor still faced the same struggles he had as a child. The world was not handing him success on a silver platter. He had to fight for everything he wanted, each step forward a battle in itself. As Conor continued to rise, the weight of his past became something he had to confront. His childhood, his family, the struggles they faced together, it all shaped who he was, but it also made him question whether he could truly leave it behind. Could he become the champion he dreamed of being without forgetting where he came from? Or would his past always follow him? And then there was the question of loyalty. As Conor's career started to take off, the people around him began to change. Friends turned into rivals, allies into enemies, and Conor was forced to make difficult decisions about who to trust and who to keep close. It was a world of shifting allegiances, a world where everything could change in an instant. But despite the challenges, Conor's rise continued. Each fight, each victory brought him closer to the man he was destined to become. And yet, despite his success, there remained a nagging feeling deep within him, a feeling that he had not yet fully reconciled with the boy he had been, the boy who had come from nothing and fought for everything. As the story of Conor McGregor's childhood unfolds, one thing becomes clear. His journey was never going to be easy. It was never going to be just about the trophies or the titles. It was about something much deeper. It was about the internal battle, the fight to prove himself to the world and to himself. And as he looked back on everything he had achieved, one question lingered. Could he truly escape the shadows of his past, or would they continue to shape his future in ways he couldn't predict? As the story continues, we will see how Conor faced the trials of his youth, the influences that shaped his character, and the pivotal moments that would define his destiny. But one thing is certain: the journey that began in the quiet streets of his childhood was far from over.